All right, so today we're diving into some pretty deep waters.
Mm-hmm.
The psychology of manipulation and
Right.
the source material we got. Phew, let's just say it's provocative.
Okay.
It claims to reveal all these tactics, these like secret strategies
Yeah.
that some women use to, get this, control the men in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, it's a perspective for sure.
It's
Like,
such
it's
a- yeah.
definitely something to think about, to explore. But I think a really important thing to remember here is
Yeah.
manipulation. It's not really about gender, is it? It's about
Yeah.
power, right? Who has it? Who's trying to get it?
Control.
Control, exactly. And honestly, anyone can be manipulative. It doesn't matter who they are, who they're with, any of that.
Okay,
So
so
it's a human thing.
how does this source, how does it even start to make its case?
So it jumps right in.
Okay.
No beating around the bush here. They say these tactics, all about women getting what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And often how they do it is by playing on men's insecurities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, like, what's the first big tactic they call out?
They call it emotional manipulation.
Okay.
And their, I guess their prime example, crying.
Crying.
Yeah. They even go so far as to call it crocodile tears.
Oh, come. So they're saying, like, every time a woman cries, it's like this calculated move.
Right. Like it's all fake.
It's a bit extreme, isn't
It
it?
is. It's totally extreme. Like, hello, tears, they're a natural human response, right? We cry when we're sad, when we're in pain, even frustrated sometimes.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Like anything else we use to communicate, tears can be, how do I say this, misused.
Right. I guess the question then becomes, how do you tell the difference
Exactly.
between, genuine sadness and someone who's just, I don't know, turning on the waterworks to get what they want?
Okay, so I'd say it's about looking for patterns.
Patterns.
Yeah. Do they cry to get out of situations? To avoid owning up when they've messed up? Or is it like a
Yeah.
consistent way they get their way? Because one time.
Yeah, one time could be anything.
Right, you can't jump to conclusions from just one instance of crying.
Right. But if it's like a repeating pattern, then
Maybe it's like, okay, what's really going on here?
there might be something else there.
Exactly. It's like you said, one action on its own
Mhm.
doesn't automatically equal manipulation. But when it's part of a bigger pattern,
Yeah.
that's when you got to pay attention.
Okay, so if crying is one red flag, what's another one to watch out for?
Okay, so the source, it also calls out guilt trips as like a major tactic.
Guilt trips.
Oh yeah, big time. And honestly, the example they give, intense.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
All right, so picture this. They describe this scenario where a woman, right, she cheats on her partner,
Mm-hmm.
and then, get this, she turns around and blames him for it.
Oh.
I know, right? It's like a next level guilt trip. But they're saying it plays on this like deep-seated sense of responsibility men have, especially responsibility for their partner's happiness. So instead of, owning up to her actions,
Yeah.
she's manipulating him into thinking it was his fault somehow.
Wow. It's like weaponizing that feeling of like being needed,
Oh, absolutely.
Which, I mean, we all want to feel needed, valued, but
Not when it's used against you.
not like that. Yeah, not if it's a way to control you.
It's about recognizing, right, when those feeling like when someone's tapping into them authentically
Yeah.
versus when they're like intentionally using them against you.
Okay, so that's emotional manipulation, guilt trips. What else we got?
Okay, are you ready for this one? Because it's a little out there.
Hit me with it.
Okay, so they list like touch as a tactic.
Touch.
Yeah, they're even implying that like a seemingly innocent touch on the arm,
Mm-hmm.
it's all calculated, to get something from a man.
Okay, that one feels a little icky to me.
It's definitely in like, whoa, hold on a minute territory.
Yeah, because, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
A touch shouldn't make you question someone's motives, right?
Right. You shouldn't have to be like analyzing every little thing.
Yeah. That's
But I
right.
do think it's important to remember physical touch. It's a form of communication, right? And like any kind of communication, it can be misused. Doesn't mean it always is, but it can be.
Okay, so how do we navigate that?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to live in a world where I can't like tap someone on the arm to get their attention.
Right. You shouldn't have to. It's about, I think, awareness of your own boundaries.
Boundaries, yeah.
And what makes you feel comfortable. If a touch, like if it feels off or if it always seems to be followed by, hey, can you do me this favor?
Right.
Pay attention to that.
Don't ignore your gut.
Your gut is telling you something.
It's like that old saying, if it feels too good to be true.
It probably is.
Maybe that applies to touch too, you know?
Maybe so.
Speaking of too good to be true, the source, they also talk about this thing, they call it excessive praise.
Oh yeah, love bombing. Classic.
Okay, so what is that exactly? What does that look like?
So love bombing, it's basically showering someone with compliments, right? Making them feel like they're on cloud nine, like amazing.
So you're feeling great about yourself,
On top of the world.
and then bam, they hit you with a request.
Oh, there it is. The other shoe always drops.
Classic.
Sick. That's
Classic
heavy.
manipulation.
Right. So it's like they build you up, butter you up, so you're more likely to say yes.
Exactly. You're already feeling good, so you're more likely to like want to please them.
Right.
Do something nice for them.
Yeah,
Keep those good vibes going.
It's like you're under a spell or something.
And often the request, it's not just, oh, hey, can you grab me that thing? It's often like money, favors, you know, something bigger.
Oh, wow. So it can be financially motivated too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they're cashing in on those compliments. Exactly. And it works because it preys on this very real, very human need we all have, right? The need to feel validated.
Right, to feel loved, appreciated.
Exactly. Like, oh, wow, they think I'm so amazing. I must be worthy of love and affection.
Right, right. And when you're not feeling that from other places in your life, or you're feeling insecure,
It's even more powerful.
it's like who wouldn't be swept up in that, right?
Yeah, it's tough to see clearly when someone's like feeding you all that positive reinforcement, even if it is, you know, a little over the top.
Right. So how do we tell the difference then
Yeah.
between like someone giving us genuine compliments and someone who's just laying it on thick because they want something from us?
I'd say one thing to look at is, okay, what's the compliment about? Is it specific?
Okay.
Like, are they pointing to something, some quality, some action that really means something to you? Or is it just like generic surface level stuff?
Oh, you're so wonderful. You're so great.
Exactly. Like, what does that even mean? You know?
Yeah. Meaningless.
Exactly. It's empty. And more importantly, how does it make you feel?
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like your gut probably knows.
Your gut knows. If it feels forced, if it feels icky, if it feels like too much too soon,
Yeah, like they're trying too hard.
trust that feeling.
Trust your gut.
It's usually right.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got
We got a lot to unpack here.
emotional manipulation, guilt trips, excessive praise. What else? This source can't just stop there, right?
Oh, no. There's more. Definitely more to come.
All right, well, I guess we'll have to dive into those another time.
Sounds like a plan. Stay tuned.
It's like you get caught up in the moment, you know, wanting to keep those good vibes going.
It's powerful stuff playing on those positive emotions. And, you know, like we were saying, especially when someone's feeling a little vulnerable,
Insecure.
yeah, that need for validation, it's like, boom, they're hooked right in.
So, okay, how do we protect ourselves then
Yeah.
from falling prey to this kind of tactic? I mean,
Honestly, I think it all comes back to self-awareness.
okay, so like knowing your own weaknesses.
In a way, yeah, like recognizing your own worth.
So you're not looking for it from other people all the time.
Exactly. Don't let someone else define that for you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And, you know, don't be afraid to question those compliments.
If something feels off,
Yeah, if they're just too much, too soon, too, I don't know, over the top.
like they're trying too hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trust your gut on that one.
Okay, that's good advice. I like that. This next tactic,
Oh boy, here we go.
this one feels, I don't know, sneaky.
Yeah.
The source calls it using your own words against you.
Ah, classic. A classic manipulation tactic for sure.
Really? So this is like textbook stuff.
Oh yeah. Deflecting blame, winning an argument, it's all fair game here.
So how does it work?
Basically, they take your words,
Okay.
twist them around, take them out of context, maybe even add some meaning that was never there.
It's like they're holding up a funhouse mirror to your words.
Right. Like, what? That's not what I said.
Making you question your own sanity. And the example they give, it's like chilling.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Okay, so picture this. Someone says to you, you said you wanted to make me happy, so where's the proof?
Oh, there it is. The guilt trip.
Right. It's like they're holding your own words hostage.
Exactly. And they're using that to manipulate you into doing something or feeling a certain way.
Ugh, it's like emotional blackmail almost.
It can feel that way, definitely. And it's especially effective because, like we were saying before, it plays on those insecurities.
Right, I need to prove yourself.
Exactly. Like, you're not good enough, you're not doing enough. And it can really make you question yourself, you know, especially if they're good at
If
it.
they're convincing.
Right. If they can twist that narrative just so.
So what do you do? If someone's like coming at you with your own words, twist it all up like that.
First things first, don't take the bait.
Okay, so don't get defensive, don't get emotional.
Exactly. Stay calm, take a breath, and then calmly, assertively, restate your original intent.
So like, that's not what I meant at all. What I was actually saying was,
Exactly. You're reclaiming your words, you're clarifying your meaning, and if they try to argue, don't engage. Just keep repeating yourself calmly and clearly.
what if they just won't let it go? Like, they keep twisting, keep arguing.
Honestly, sometimes the best thing you can do is just walk away.
Really? Just disengage.
Yeah, like, look, this isn't productive. We can talk about it later when we've both cooled down.
So it's about setting boundaries.
Absolutely. Protect your own emotional well-being.
It's interesting, though, because you've been careful to point out that this manipulation stuff, it's not just a woman thing, right?
Definitely not. It's so important to remember that. Manipulation, it can come from anyone.
Men, women.
Anyone. It's not about gender. It's about, like we said at the beginning, power and control. And that dynamic, it can pop up anywhere.
Work, friendships, family.
Anywhere. So it's about recognizing those tactics and protecting yourself, no matter who's using them.
No matter who it is.
Exactly. Knowledge is power in this case.
Right. Forewarned is forearmed.
Exactly. And it's about trusting your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore those red flags.
Okay, so we've talked about emotional manipulation, guilt trips, excessive praise, twisting words. Before we move on to, I guess, the last tactic, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier.
Sure.
That whole self-awareness thing.
Yeah.
Can you, I don't know, maybe unpack that a little bit more for us?
Yes, absolutely.
You mentioned that self-awareness is key to avoiding manipulation. Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. Self-awareness, it's like having this internal radar system, right?
Yeah.
It helps you tune in to your own emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize those vulnerabilities you might have.
Right, like where are my weak spots?
Exactly. And understand how your actions, even your reactions, how those play into the whole dynamic, you know?
So it's like the better you know yourself,
Yeah.
the easier it is to spot those red flags when someone's trying to, I don't know, mess with you. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, let's say, you know, you tend to look for validation from others, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be way more likely to notice when someone's using that, like laying on the flattery.
Oh,
you
he's
know?
trying to butter me up.
Exactly, because they want something.
It's like knowing your weaknesses
Mhm.
can actually be your greatest strength in a way.
100%. And that awareness, it goes for boundaries too.
Okay, so like knowing what you're okay with, what you're not okay with,
Exactly. That's huge.
and being strong enough to like say something if someone's crossing those lines.
Yes. You got to protect your own space, your own energy.
Don't be afraid to walk away even.
100%. Sometimes that's the healthiest thing you can do. Now, speaking of tactics,
Okay.
there's one more from this source we haven't gotten to yet.
Oh, right.
They call this one playing the victim.
Playing the victim. Okay, I think I can guess where this is going, but lay it on me.
All right, so it's basically what it sounds like, right? Someone's always portraying themselves as helpless, like they've been wronged somehow. And it's usually to get sympathy, to get others to, I don't know, do things for them, give them attention.
Oh, the old woe is me routine.
Exactly. And it works because, let's be honest, most people, they want to help.
Yeah. You see someone struggling, you want to reach out.
It's natural. We're wired for empathy, for connection. But like all these other tactics we've talked about, it can be misused.
So how do you tell the difference
Mhm.
between someone who genuinely needs support
Right.
and someone who's just, working the system?
Again, I think it goes back to patterns. Is this a one-time thing, or is this like their go-to move?
Right.
Are they always the victim in every situation? Are they taking any responsibility for what's happening?
Or is it always someone else's fault?
Exactly. Look at the bigger picture.
All right, so let's recap here. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
Emotional manipulation, guilt trips, excessive praise, twisting your words, playing the victim. It's like a whole playbook of manipulation tactics.
And remember, this source, they were focused on these tactics being used by women in like romantic relationships, right?
Right, but like you've been saying,
It can happen anywhere, any relationship, any gender dynamic.
it's not about men versus women.
Not at all.
It's about power and control
Exactly.
and recognizing those patterns so you don't get caught up in them.
100%. That's how you protect yourself?
This has been, I don't know, eye-opening.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. Any, final words of wisdom for our listeners?
Yep.
Before we wrap up this deep dive into, manipulation.
You know, I think the biggest thing is trust your gut.
Yeah.
If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore those red flags, and remember,
Mhm.
you are worthy of love, respect, healthy relationships.
Yes, you are, no matter what anyone else might say or do.
Exactly. Don't settle for anything less.
I love that. All right, well, on that note, I think we're going to wrap things up here. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride into the psychology of manipulation.
Anytime. Always happy to be here.
Until next time, stay curious and stay empowered.